Hello, class. Today's lesson is over the Hundred Years' War. Now, the Hundred Years' War was a long series of wars that were fought between England and France. Now, as you can see, from 1337 to 1453, that's actually 116 years. So, when we hear Hundred Years' War, they didn't fight for just 100 years, they fought over a period of 100 years. Now, right here on this map, you can see England, and then France is right here. And basically, since the year 1066 and the Battle of Hastings, English kings owned territory in France. If you remember, William the Conqueror was from Normandy, France, and he conquered England. So he maintained territory, and so did his ancestors. Now, later on, English King Edward III claimed that he should rule France as well, since he still owned territory from his family. Now, the timeline of the Hundred Years' War, as you can see here on this map, right here shows us that everything in green is the English territory and everything in orange is French. Right here, you have a little bit of English territory and a little bit there. And then over time, you can see that the English were winning the war through most of this time period, but then by the year 1453, when it finished, France had defeated the English and pushed them out of their country. Now, this war was fought over 116 years, but it wasn't continuous fighting. There were breaks over the years. The biggest break was in the year 1347, 1348, when the Black Death arrived in London, in England, about 1347. And England lost about one-third of its population. And then in France, as you can see here, the capital of Paris, France lost one-fourth of its population. So during these two or 3 years, the Black Death, they weren't really fighting each other because so many people died. They didn't really have the soldiers to fight. Now, when King Henry V of England took over in the year 1415, he made many successes against the French, and his most famous one is the Battle of Agincourt. Now, the English at this battle only had about 6,000 men, and the French had 20,000. Now, you'd think 20,000 knights, which is what the French had, would surely be able to defeat 6,000 English longbowmen. However, the longbow was able to pierce the armor of the knights. And through tactics of King Henry and the use of better technology, the English were able to completely stomp and defeat the French knights. So the Battle of Agincourt was an English victory, and it's been popularized and put in our culture through Shakespeare. We're going to learn more about Shakespeare later on in the year. He is a famous playwright. You guys know him for writing Romeo and Juliet, but he also wrote a play about King Henry, and that describes in the play Battle of Agincourt. Excuse me. Now, towards the end of the war, a famous woman named Joan of Arc showed up in France. Now, right here, you can see this image of Joan. She was only 17 years old, and she was a peasant girl. She was not a soldier, but she showed up one day at King later on Charles the Sixth or Seventh of France. He was not yet king, but she basically told him that God had given her a vision for her to lead the battle and defeat the English. At the time, the French weren't doing very well, and so Charles figured, well, why not? Joan became a good luck. Now, different sources say that she actually fought in the battles. However, what really happened is she arrived at one of the cities that was being attacked by the English, and through her leadership, whether actually fighting or just cheering on the soldiers, the French were able to push out the English. Now, eventually, she was captured by the English, and right here in this image, we can see that she was put on trial. Now, the English wanted revenge. They pretty much lost the war by this point, and they wanted to embarrass the French. And they found Joan guilty of something called heresy. Heresy are ideas that go against the teachings of the church or the accepted teachings. And as a result, she was burned at the stake. Now, later on, the Catholic Church realized that the English were doing this just to score political points and who embarrassed the French. And Joan of Arc was later made a saint of the Catholic Church. By the time she died, she was only 19 years old. So, over a period of 2 years, Joan of Arc had a huge impact on the French. In fact, many people say that she is one of the final pieces that enabled the French to win the Hundred Years' War. And they basically won because they pushed the English out of their country. And France became the most powerful kingdom in Western Europe during the Middle Ages. All right, and that is the end of the lesson. If you guys have any questions, make sure to come see me. And good luck on today's assignment.